Training's been good. I think we had the opportunity to sort of learn and reflect from the game versus New England. A game that we definitely wanted to get, I would say, 3 points out of. I think one that we had opportunities to get 3 points from. So, again, just trying to build on a few of the positives that come out of that game and continue to get better. It's still early stages of the season, and it's an opportunity for us to go on the road against a really good Red Bull team, a team that was in the final last year, have made some really nice additions in the off season, and we're expecting a difficult challenge game that they're now. As much as it's the first game on the road for us, it's their first home opener. So the team that'll bring, I'm sure, a lot of energy. It'll have a lot of fan support behind them, but it'll be a nice challenge and test for us.
Thanks, Coach. We'll start with Ben and just go down the line and go ahead and ask your question and follow up if you have one.
Yeah, just looking back at Saturday, I know you talked about kind of how pleased you were with the ability to plug in guys like Wyatt and Matt and just get results. I think you talked about how kind of it was maybe proof of concept, or this is kind of what fans can expect from Nashville. Just looking back on their debuts, how not just how pleased are you with the debuts, but how does it kind of settle any some concerns about depth going forward, just seeing them be able to step in and perform at that level?
Yeah, I think you're really pleased, right? I mean, these are big moments for players to play their first sort of, I'll call it, professional game. For us and that idea, and so it gives us great confidence and gives them great confidence that they're going to be that they're prepared and that they belong here, and we know that. But I think having the opportunity to play on the field and perform is like that last little bit of self-belief. And I think it's going to it'll pay huge dividends for us as we hit kind of, the middle of the season, which I always think is like the forgotten part of a year. There's always so much excitement when everyone is in the beginning. And then when you're in the end and there's the playoffs, there's all that excitement. But there's this huge piece in the middle where you start playing Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday games, and the density starts to go where you really call upon your depth. And for those guys to get the experience now, we'll reap the rewards later.
How much do the road trips when it comes to the preseason training help with, at least early on, living out of a suitcase, being on the road and having to expect to perform early in the season?
Yeah, we intentionally designed I would call it a dry run, where we left Florida, match day -1, flew to Austin, checked into the hotel, set your hotel up, get comfortable moving into your room, and even the support staff and everybody kind of doing it. So we intentionally did that to create that comfortability. So it's not our first road trip. We have a lot of new players. We have a lot of new staff, and so that was a great, I would say, opportunity and ability for us to reflect and learn and iron out a few kinks because players and staff are like cultures of habit. And so you want to make sure that you can prepare each guy properly so that it's not technically feels like our first road trip. But I think there's always unexpected things that can occur. But I think we're a well-oiled machine at this point, and we're prepared for it.
BJ, during the preseason, you mentioned how you weren't really focused on gearing up for a specific opponent in a game. Just you wanted to focus more on how your team was playing, how you would adapt to situations during games. Does that start to change now going into the regular season, especially now you're going into a game where the other team now has a full game of regular season film, stuff to look for, stuff to watch for you guys?
Yeah, I think it's always a balancing act. Each opponent is going to bring their own unique style and their own unique challenges to what we're going to try to do. But we're going to continue to stay focused on what we believe in and executing how we want to do it. And you might have to make a few tweaks or adjustments to how you're going to do it, but not what we're going to do. For us, it's we have an idea on what how we want to play. We're going to continue to try to execute it, but we're not naive enough to know that the opponent is trying to stop us, and they're going to bring they're going to have their own unique way of doing it. So it's just about making sure we're clear with our preparation.
BJ, what did you learn after having time to analyze the tape from the game about this team?
Yeah, I thought the team was really organized defensively, hard to play through. So very happy about that. That I think we limited opportunities for the opponent to hurt us. I think we got ourselves in positions to hurt the opponent and create goal scoring opportunities. But at the same time, I think we needed to be more ruthless, both in finishing the opportunities that we created and also potentially creating more and trying to take the next step of not only controlling the opponent and being hard to play against, but also provoking them into making some more mistakes and try to create even more scoring chances. So for us, that's kind of been the focus of the week.
Nashville SC have never won against the Red Bulls in 6 tries, I believe. The Red Bulls have a very specific style. It's energy. It's a lot of pressing. What steps are you taking? Did you take this week to kind of combat that, and what are you doing technically without giving away anything crazy? Yes.
Thanks for the out. No, listen. I think we have we like everybody else have our process on how we evaluate the opponent, and so I think you're right. They have a very clear identity. They're well coached. They've now been doing this together for a little bit of time, and I think they're going to present some unique challenges to us with the aggressiveness that they want to play. They want to play behind your back line. They want to press you a little up the field, and we just have to be prepared for it. We just have to be calm. We have to understand that if we still want the ball, we're going to have to be able to play through them, and if we can do that at a high level, there'll be opportunities to create goal scoring chances, and that's the whole week is just to sort of expect that, not be caught by surprise. But also to be confident and calm and connected to one another to still be able to execute the way Nashville wants to play.
So, and I know you're probably tired of answering this question, but you had a good amount of players out last weekend. I think off the top of my head, Yazbek, Schaffelberg, Acosta, and Brugman are the big ones. What is the health report there, and where are they in their sort of recovery?
Yeah, Yazbek, Brugman are back in team training. In a capacity. Schaffelberg is like in the beginning parts of the team training. Julian Gaines is still out of team training.
Julian? Last week before the first match, you were talking about how sometimes it'll look great and sometimes it might not look as pretty when you guys are trying to build team chemistry and build this culture that you want to try to establish here. How do you balance knowing that it's going to take time, but also being results-based still?
Yeah, and I would reflect back to the New England game where I thought there was periods of time that we played well. There were some periods that we could have improved, but at the same time, we are not happy with the draw at home. And so for us, it's we will never allow the lack of a result to permeate into our culture and use it as justification or rationalizing, or things in our environment we're not going to rationalize or justify as like why we didn't get the result. We're saying that it's okay we didn't get the result. We understand the business that we're in. We understand the commitment to the fans that we have, and that is to win games. Now that doesn't mean we deviate away from what we want to do and who we want to be, but that won't creep into our culture. We know that we want 3 points when we step out on the field.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask kind of about the setup on Saturday. It felt like you guys were trying to make the game really compact, especially sideline to sideline. There are times where kind of that opposite side wide midfielder would slide all the way across. I'm just kind of curious about maybe the reasoning behind that approach, and is that something that you're hoping to kind of implement going forward, or is that more of just a specific thing that you saw against New England?
No, I think in general that's we want to create close connections amongst the players. So we from a larger perspective, we know that we want to try to create overloads on the field, and you also attract the opponent to unbalance and disorganize them, and then to try and break that and create goal scoring opportunities when we're able to find space. So part of that is yes, it's trying to create connections and close partnerships with one another, but at the same time, it's also trying to, attract the opponent into certain areas so that we can hopefully, get to other areas and get to goal. So it's certainly part of what we are doing, and now just finding, I would say, a variety of ways to stay, to execute that.
Everybody good? Yeah. Cool. Well, we're now joined by Nashville SC goalkeeper Joe Willis. Joe, first road match of the year this weekend. Red Bulls, a very low scoring series history there. I think 3 of the last 4 have been scoreless draws, all clean sheets for yourself. Coming off a clean sheet in the opening match, which is actually your 50th with the club. If you wanted to start by talking about how training's gone this week and what you expect to see from the Red Bulls.
Yeah, training's gone well this week. Red Bulls are a team who bring a lot of high energy. They like to press high. We're a team this year who likes to play out of the back. We like to build up. And those are the kind of things that Red Bull looks for to capitalize and force mistakes. So we're going to have to be very cautious in that aspect. They're a good team, no doubt about it. They obviously made it to the final last year and have possibly improved in the offseason. So it's going to be a tough test for sure, but one that I think we're up to.
Well, just go down the line again, but
Yeah, Joe, I mean, you just mentioned wanting to build out of the back more. It looked on Saturday like you guys were playing short from most of the goal kicks, and then you had a couple times just in the run of play where you were holding onto the ball a lot more than usual. Just what's that kind of transition been like, and how do you feel playing in that kind of different system, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, the transition, like you said, it's definitely different. So there's a little bit of a learning curve for myself and for everyone involved. But it's something that everyone on our team is totally confident in doing. I think there are a lot of positives that can come from playing out of the back. I think especially when you play a team like Red Bull, who has high energy, if you're able to break their press and make them run a lot without the ball, at some point, they're going to get tired, and then that's when holes will start to open up and we'll be able to attack and hurt them. But at the same time, I think we need to balance it and understand that if they're going to send a lot of guys high and press us, then it might not be the right time to play out of the back, and maybe we have to switch it up a little bit and look for balls in behind. And I think having a varied attack and approach in that sense will help us to be successful.
go ahead, Ben, if you have another.
BJ also talked about just how you guys were happy with some of the things that you did on Saturday. I'm sure you're happy with the clean sheet, but also wanting to win at home. How do you kind of evaluate the performance from Saturday kind of in that light?
Yeah, I mean, you said it. We obviously are happy not to concede goals, but that's the bare minimum when we're at home. We need to win games, especially against Eastern Conference rivals. When we're at home, we expect to win 3 points, and that's how we're going to make playoffs and be a good team in this league, is by capitalizing on those opportunities. I think overall, a lot of new guys, kind of a new style of play for us. So I think the structure, generally speaking, was pretty good. It's just about tweaking and fine-tuning some of the details, which we've worked a lot this week on looking at video and on the field, walking through certain situations, and just everyone knowing their role and their job and where they need to be in any given circumstance.
Julian?
What kind of advice do you have for some of the younger players who are going on a road trip now for the first time? The differences about having to live out of a suitcase, being in a hotel room.
I mean, we all went through preseason together, so I think they have enough experience in that, and it's for some of the young guys playing road games, it can be tough. But the only advice I would give is that it's the same game whether you're playing home or away. It's just people in the stands are wearing a different colored shirt. Nothing else changes. We approach it with the same mentality that we want to win games. We want to win, whether it's home or away. We want to win 3 points. Again, like I said earlier, against an Eastern Conference team who we'd like to gain ground on. Just approach it like any other game.
Julian, you had a favorite?
And you mentioned the preseason. How much BJ talked about how it was designed to get you guys comfortable for the early parts of the season on the road. Can you kind of expound on that a little bit and how much did that indeed help going there, coming back, all that stuff?
Yeah, we spent 2 weeks in Florida, came back, spent another 2 weeks in Florida, and went from Florida, played a Wednesday game, and then traveled to Austin and played a Saturday game at Austin. And I think, you know, it perfectly replicated what it's like in the season when you have a congested schedule and you have to travel and play on maybe short rest time. So I think it was good to get everyone that kind of experience and to start building routines and how you want to approach those games from an individual standpoint.
We'll go with Jacob and Bob, and if you have to,
Yeah.
feel free to ask them.
Yeah, Joe, you know, last season you guys started out the season playing, I think, 8 games in a little over 3 weeks with Champions Cup and just scheduled early. I guess what are maybe some lessons that you took away from just how packed that schedule was to start last season, maybe going into this part of the early season?
That's a good question. I think when the schedule's packed like that, you can get complacent because you have so many games. If you lose one, you can kind of tell yourself that, okay, we have another game in 3 days and it's fine, it's not a big deal. Whereas now when we're playing, you know, once a week or a pretty normal schedule, every game feels a little bit more important. And I think down the road, at the end of the season, you know, making the playoffs, getting in a position for a home game, it usually comes down to a couple points, and you never know when you're going to be able to pick up those points. So I think it's important to treat every game, you know, with the utmost importance, knowing that a win, you know, on our first day, if we would have won, maybe that would have been the extra 2 points that got us over the line at the end of the season. You just never know when it's going to happen, so you need to treat every game like it's, you know, deadline day.
And I guess my second question, you know, BJ's talked about how maybe a point of emphasis, point of pride for this team is being able to plug and play certain guys, you know, be able to, you know, have similar production just no matter who's in the lineup. You know, with a lot of new guys, you know, coming in and out, young guys coming in and out of the lineup this part of the season, you know, you have 2 new starters in midfield on Saturday. I guess what's that like for you as a goalie? How do you maybe try to maintain consistency for yourself and for the team with those new lineups?
Communication as much as possible, not just from myself, but from the players around them, especially when you have 2 younger guys making their MLS debuts in the center of the field. Like I said, we've done a lot of work in the classroom, so to speak, as far as what is expected out of everyone and what the roles are. So we hope that when one guy goes down, next man up, you know, basically has the exact same impact. That being said, you know, it's always, you never know what's going to happen. I thought Wyatt and Matt stepped in and did an incredible job. They're both high IQ players, very talented players. So I think it's a credit to the coaching staff and drilling us all preseason of knowing what the roles are and what's expected out of each position.
Joe, what did you learn about this team after Saturday's game?
I learned that we're a hungry team. You know, we have high expectations for ourselves. I think that we are a team who has a lot of confidence in the way we're playing and what we want to do. I think we are going to be a process-based team. Obviously, you know, results are what matters, but I think if we do the right things along the way, then the results will come. So, like I said, there are a lot of positives to take from the game and how we played, and obviously not scoring was a negative, but we are confident that if we continue to do the right things and play the way we're playing, that the goals will come.
You mentioned new guys coming in, especially in that back line. Do you have to adjust your game based on who's playing in front of you, whether it's Andy on the right or Dan on the left or somebody else filling in? Do you adjust your game, or is it pretty much just how you play and whatever changes it is what it is?
Yeah, I don't think that I have to adjust it too much. I think it's more learning tendencies of individual players. like we've said multiple times, you know, the hope is that we have a system and whoever's playing fits into that system. But, you know, some guys have certain individual talents and abilities that, you know, are on display during the game. Andy, for example, is a very good technical player. He's good at going forward, likes to dribble a bit. So just making sure that he has the freedom to do that while within the structure of our system and our team. Again, I think a lot of it just comes down to communication. And, you know, if Andy's going to get high, then Dan needs to tuck in a little bit, and vice versa. If Dan, you know, goes high, then Andy needs to tuck in a little bit. But ultimately, I think having, you know, new guys in the back line or anywhere on the field, it really, communication can solve a lot of issues.
And then lastly, 50 clean sheets. You even have an assist in MLS. You've played you know, a couple hundred games, if not more. So where do you feel like you get the props you deserved, I guess, league-wide? And do you feel like there's something about goalkeepers maybe not getting as much of an attention as a forward would?
I mean, I don't really care about that kind of stuff. I know what my job is, and I know how it works. The goal scorers get, you know, the praise. So I'm totally fine with that. I'm just happy to do my job and hopefully help the team, you know, get wins.
Thanks, Joe. Thank you guys. Appreciate you coming out. Appreciate the patience.
Yeah, probably. Maybe one step. But yeah, I think it's better to just drop the shoulder. Backwards. Bring those knees up next. Knees up. Zigzag. And it's done. Back pedal, next, back pedal. Turn to your right. Accelerate. Turn to your left. Accelerate. Yes, feel. Up. That's up. Wait. Who's in? Wait. Come on. Hey, this is for Luis. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right. Yes, Johnny. Play to Johnny. 7, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.